Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UPNradio.com.
The Marla and Dave radio experience begins in 3, 2, 1.
Now, if you're ready, we will begin.
Welcome to the Marla and Dave radio show. This is reality radio with a couple that keeps it real. Current events, pop culture, music, relationship, fitness, the hot topics of the day. Marla and Dave Thomas. This is the Marla and Dave radio show. Real radio. Turn up!
Welcome to the Marla and Dave show. I see I'm alone. It's just the Dave show today. Hey,
Dave,
what do you know?
You know what? Sometimes I like to lag because I like to give you the spotlight. My personality is big. Welcome to the Marla and Dave show. I'm Marla and he's Dave.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, today, Marla, you are in full control because you have the clock. Tell me what to do.
Wait a minute. I'm the only one with the clock?
You're doing it.
Dave, you know that I only fake control. Being in real control makes me a little bit nervous.
It's
I
okay.
tend to, run them up.
It's
when I
okay.
have
It's
actual
okay.
control.
We're all good. Well, you know what? I'm feeling good today. What's your mood like, Marla?
I'm not even going to talk about it. Tony, hit me.
I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause I make no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way. Don't have myself and regret. Just love myself and instead. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way.
So which way is that you were born? What are you saying?
Well, I was born black.
Okay, yeah.
I was born a woman.
Yeah.
I think I was born funny. And that's kind of...
I don't know. I remember you back in the day.
Dave,
I
you
think
know that
funny is a recent...
I'm all the fun in the family, Dave. You do know that.
Well, guess what?
You're faking it.
Guess how I'm feeling today?
Let's hear it.
Tony, hit me. Yeah.
Of course.
I
Prince.
just realized if we're talking about sexuality, that if I were to be anything other than heterosexual, I think I'd be a lesbian.
David, really? That's not a good look on you.
Hey!
You're not official. So,
Well,
okay,
you know.
look, let's get into what we're dealing with today. Before we even go any further, I always want to remind everybody what our MAD monthly charity is, and we're still donating. Please log on to triplestep.org or triplesteptowardsthecure.org and contribute. It's Breast Cancer Month. And that's a very dear cause to us because we lost our friend Cheryl Flowers to triple-negative breast cancer.
Absolutely. And remember that we're still trying to help Layla Hathaway make that record, make that live CD.
Pledge
it's
Music.
pledgemusic.com /projects/Layla Hathaway. Or just go straight to Layla's website, laylahathaway.com, and click on Pledge Music. Help her make her next recording. Be a part of it. Make it happen. Be a part of the music.
Be a part of our show. Dave, tell everybody what to do.
You can call the show at 323-284-7826. We want to talk to you. We don't want to talk at you. Again, 323-284-7826. Don't make Marla talk at you like she talks at me.
Yeah.
323-284-7826. You can find us also on Twitter at the M&D Show. Same for, Instagram is at the M&D Show. Facebook is the Marla and Dave Show.
That's a lot of stuff going on there. Anyway,
Yeah.
And also always thanking the guests that were here last week. We talked about reality TV rules, and we had producer Jeff Dyson as well as the celebrity stylist Lily Adele. And for those of you who want to know where to find Lily, she has her own store in Woodland Hills called LA, ELLA. And also hit her up on Instagram. We're at Lily Adele, LILYADEL.
Yep, and so we're going to start off today's topic when we come back. So today we're talking about, first of all, I want to say this is sort of a touchy subject. So we will not tolerate, some say, we will not tolerate any hate. So I'm going to just put that out there up front.
And I'm gonna jump right in.
Not that we need to say that to the M&D family, though, but just in case.
Right. And with all the media attention lately on the LGBT community, I know that the Michael Sam story was like a firestorm with all that going on. The question that we're simply asking is simple. Are there some people who are choosing to be gay because it's trendy? We're going to get into that with our special guest when we come back from the break.
Current events, pop culture, the hot topics of the day. It's time for Mad News on the Marla and Dave radio show. Ladies and gentlemen, Marla and Dave.
Okay, some people don't consider this news, but it was brought to my attention.
Me.
This story was sent to me, and I'm just going to. Has anybody else investigated the claims and the allegations that Beyonce did not indeed have her baby? She supposedly, a story went out, and she posted an actual statement through her publicist saying that she apologizes to her loved ones, blah, 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 that for not actually giving birth to Blue Ivy, but she's just as emotionally invested in the baby despite the fact that she was not the birth giver.
Well, first of all, the statement actually said one of her publicists, and I'm pretty much do my due diligence anytime something like this comes out that's going to be sensitive like this. I know if somebody said that one of my kids weren't mine, I'd be pretty mad at a few people.
Well, because you don't have a uterus, so
you number one.
That wouldn't be. No one can prove anything.
But the main thing is that I looked everywhere and I couldn't find it anywhere else. So it made me a little concerned.
Well, some people don't consider it news, but I guess I'm going to finish with this. It's an integrity issue. And Beyonce and Jay-Z can do whatever the heck they want to do. But the bottom line is, why go through such an elaborate ruse is what I'm saying.
That's
Be
true.
who you're gonna be.
There's no need if that's the case,
And
allegedly.
her body is $1 million investment. So the fact that she didn't want to muck it up potentially, I'm not even mad at her.
Well, remember, go to our website, marlandave.com, and you can click on the Ask Marla and Dave button to actually ask us any question that you want. We'll get to it right on air.
Can you handle the truth? This is modern American dialogue in a mad world from two unique, fresh, transparent perspectives. This is the Marla and Dave radio show.
Okay, so we are back, and today we are simply asking the question. Well, one of the questions that we're asking is, are some people choosing an LGBT lifestyle simply because it's trendy?
And
Which actually goes into the question of, is it nature or nurture? Are you born that way, or are you socialized that way?
Let me jump in right quick, because before we start every show, each of us actually has an opinion. The Marla and Dave show. So let me give you Marla's opinion. I honestly think that the whole conversation that we've been having lately that is defining us or identifying us by our sexual preference and choice is stupid. In other words, when you meet me, nobody says, oh, hey, this is Dave Thomas's wife. She's in a heterosexual relationship with Dave Thomas of Take 6. No one identifies the fact that because I choose to actually have sex with a man, that's what part of my identity. I'm identified as my children's mother. I'm identified as a homemaker. I'm identified as a fitness trainer. I'm identified as your wife. But nobody talks about me being heterosexual or not. So why is the conversation now all about someone's sexual preference? What they do in private should not be their identity.
I can get to that in a minute, but let me give you my premise. My premise is that I do believe that some people are born LGBT, gay, lesbian, however you want to look at it, just like some people are born heterosexual. Do I think that all people who engage in homosexual or lesbian or gay, sometimes I get confused as to how to say politically correct that behavior. Are they all gay? No. As a matter of fact, I remember, I should say, I know some people, especially when it comes to women, that actually will have a far more experimentation
so you're leaning
than
more,
men.
You're leaning more towards the trendy answer, and I'm saying that, there's always the exception to the rule. But I think that our focus is wrong. But we have guests here that can help us sort this question out and share their experiences.
We are joined by one of our guests, is Miss Kelly Hart. And I'm going to let Kelly kind of tell us a little bit about herself. Or, Kelly, if you want me to, I can get right into it. Because what Kelly is here, born and raised in Southern California, and she enjoys time spent with her family, her church. I can definitely beat her at basketball and tennis. She enjoys
Wait a minute,
working
did she say
out.
tennis?
She said tennis.
What?
Kelly, you do not want any of Marla and Dave on the tennis court. Trust me.
Okay, we're going to have to video this. This is an official challenge. Put out.
She enjoys spending time with her fiance, Melody. She's a part of the lesbian community since 2004. I'm going to ask her about that because I assume that you weren't born in 2004.
No, absolutely.
Okay. She's in a relationship with her beautiful partner, Melody, currently pursuing a career in the accounting industry after graduating from Oakwood University. Whoop, whoop, Oakwood.
Well, that's a familiar school. We know all about that.
Absolutely. Our son's at Oakwood right now.
Okay, so we introduce Kelly Hart to you, as well as look at Mr. Black Magic. Oh yeah. So for this is double for me, because for all of you who ignore what I'm talking about online to constantly talk to me about my hairstyles, this is the man that's been responsible for my hairstyle and my hairstylist for several years, and he does a heck of a job. This is Mr. Greg Gilmore, and we're welcoming him to the Marla and Dave show as well.
Absolutely. Greg is a heck of a kickball player as well, I might add. He's one of my kickball nemesis, with a little apostrophe at the end, so there's nemesis. I don't know if you say that, but Greg has a lead foot. I think he puts extra weights in his boots when he comes out to play, because Greg will kick it a mile.
All right, well, I want to get back to let's get back to Kelly. Kelly, I'm gonna ask you to get a little bit closer to your mic there. So you said since 2004. So would that imply that being a part of the lesbian community was not something that you always identified with for yourself?
I haven't always identified with the community. That was my first experience, and from there it was pretty much exactly what I wanted it to be.
Okay, so when if I ask you directly to answer the question, born gay or nature versus nurture, what is your actual opinion on that?
I feel that I was born this way. However, I don't feel that that is true for
blanket
all people.
Greg, what about you?
Well, I kind of always knew that I was, homosexual. I remember having crushes on, same sex when I was, in elementary school. And I knew that it was something different because it was a special kind of feeling that came over me when I encountered someone that I really liked. But I didn't have the same kind of feeling towards the opposite sex.
Well, I'm going to just say this. I think that must be a sort of a pressurized situation when you're growing up to have to either identify, I was born this way. And the reason why I say that is from the time until I was like 4 or 5, 6 years old, I would not have recognized my sexuality, if that makes any sense.
Are you
couldn't
kidding
tell me
me?
that I was born one way or the other. I mean, I didn't even think about it.
Well, it's called puberty.
Well, yeah, and at 4, 5, 6, you're not
Well,
in
he
puberty.
didn't say 4, 5, 6. He said elementary school.
He said elementary school.
Well, okay, I was 6 when I met you, and you were 8. And so I do know, maybe my sexuality is more advanced than yours,
Okay, that's
Dave.
exactly what I mean. At 6 and 8, it's not really, I want to do
Oh,
things
no,
with
no.
you.
Well,
it's just, we're doing like all the other
But
kids.
hold on, though.
You know what I mean?
We have to admit, and we can all admit, that there is an actual attraction that we're talking about.
Right.
When we were young, even if it was displayed or exhibited in playing on the playground or hitting each other in the back or chasing each other or writing notes. Dave, I wrote you a note that said, if you like me, check yes, check no, check maybe. We were in elementary school.
And that proves my point. Exactly what I'm saying. What did I do with that note? What did I tell you I did with the note?
Well, you really want us to rehash that?
Yeah, I need you
Do you
to.
want to be
Yeah.
back in the doghouse forever?
I'm not going to be in the doghouse.
Okay.
Let's just see.
Let me tell you guys right quick what really happened. I'm going to tell you guys. Dave took the note home. He came back to school the next day. Tony, you're not going to believe this. And you know what he said? Oh, I went home and told my brother, and there was somebody else in our school that liked him,
I had to get some counsel.
My brother,
I had to get some counsel.
My brother
That's the
said,
issue. That's what I'm saying, because I really wasn't,
Dave, don't try to save yourself. My brother said that she's prettier than you are.
I had to get some counsel.
He said that. And then
because I was so young.
I made him crawl back to ask for my hand in marriage.
Before Dave is continuously sucking up the Alpo, let's get back to Greg and Kelly. And remember, you can call in at 323-284-7826. The real question is, Kelly actually stated that she doesn't believe that that's a blanket statement for all people that are you saying in the LGBT community or that practice, or I'm not sure what you're exactly saying. I want some clarification.
Anyone who is in the homosexual community or, like you said, LGBT, not everybody has the same story. Earlier I spoke on, there's the man who was raped as a young child or the woman who was raped as a young child and grew up not trusting men or, not trusting someone of the opposite sex. They find comfort in a woman. Now, that's not my story, but...
Right. That's a paradigm shifting situation.
That is the story. You also have the people who think it's just fun, something to do. They try it, and it just becomes something to do when it's drunk, and I don't believe that.
Do we call those people? So let's just stop right there. For both of you, Greg and Kelly.
First of all, Greg hasn't actually weighed in on the topic, I don't think.
He's
talked about his own
experience. Okay. So, Greg.
Well, I mean, when I was younger, I don't know if it's too taboo for radio.
No, nothing's too taboo here.
But, I mean, when I was younger, junior high school, I used to have relations with, same sex. But it comes out of the curiosity as being an adolescent, but the desire there was for a male. It wasn't for a female. I did have some things, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure a lot of people, had different things going on when they were younger. But it was something I was interested in, and that's why I pursued it.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask. So we're pretty much asking the question, but I want to get a little bit further when we come back from Kelly and Greg to find out if you know people who are just experiencing a gay lifestyle or a lesbian lifestyle just for fun. So when we get back, we'll get those answers from you guys from this break.
Hey guys, listen up. Learn something. 26 years of marriage from two unique perspectives equals 52 years of relationship experience. It's time for Ask Marla and Dave.
What is Hal
Answers
talking
to
about?
your questions about life, love, and relationship based on Marla and Dave's real life experience. It's about to get real. Ask Marla and Dave.
All right, so a question came in through the Ask Marla and Dave portal.
Portal?
And just to let everyone know
That's
that
so
we
Matrix-like.
always keep names anonymous. So when you ask Marla and Dave a question, we're not trying to out you or anything like that. So the question came in, and it's especially appropriate since Halloween is coming up. A woman says, my daughter's father thinks it's harmless to trick or treat in safe environments, but because of my faith, I'm against it altogether. Can there be any compromise in this? I hate the arguing.
Can there be any compromise? I think that when it comes to faith, the compromise happened before the baby was born. But because there's when it comes to faith, either it is or it isn't. And I think that the only compromise can be not calling it Halloween, but having an autumn fest or doing something that celebrates a fall festival minus goblins and ghouls.
I completely agree. First of all, I like the fact that you said I hate the arguing. You shouldn't argue over situations like this. You should be on one accord. So seek to find that same...
Now, if he won't buy you those Christian Louboutin shoes, girl, you need to go in on him. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Find that balance. And again, you can call it something else. And so that if your husband thinks that your child can go trick-or-treating, they can go out and collect candy with other people and just say, we're not calling it Halloween. We're doing it for another reason.
And the baby's here now. It's too late. But for everybody else listening in the future, you might want to discuss these things before you actually accept the sperm into the egg.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm thinking.
And if you have a question, remember, go to the website, www.marlaanddave.com, and simply click Ask Marla and Dave. Fill out the form, and we will answer it right here online.
Welcome back to the Marla and Dave radio show. Marla and Dave want to talk to you. Phone lines are open at 323-284-7826. 323-284-7826.
Okay, well, Osman is actually asking in the chat room, how does he send the question or statements to Marla and Dave? Osman, right there in the chat room, just type whatever you want to. We will actually get to it as we can on the air.
And if it's something in the future that's private, you just need to go to www.marlaanddave.com and just hit contact us, and it'll come straight to Dave because Dave will jump on it before Marla gets a chance to even see it.
But to be honest with you, we actually prefer you to actually call the show at 323-284-7826 while we're on the air, and we will actually get you into the show. We love to talk to you. And if not, you'll be like me. Marla will be talking at you.
Yeah, and the other thing is, right quick, I just want to tell you guys, because you're not sitting in the studio with us, Kelly and Greg are lovely. They're so nice. There's been no fighting, no slapping, no spitting. So if you want to call and speak with them or ask them a question, I encourage you to do that because they're lovely people and they smell good.
Well, Kelly was saying that I don't know if it was Kelly or Greg was addressing the fact that not everyone has the same experience, and I can relate to that as a black man because I used to remember when they would have talk shows and Roy Ennis would get into a talk show representing African American men as a whole, and next thing you know, this cat would lose his cool and he would be in a chair throwing fight every single time. And I was like, man, how is he representing me? I would never do that. So I can understand, I can relate to that not everyone represents everyone. And so we kind of have need to have some sensitivity to that issue. Go ahead, Greg.
Go, Grit.
Well, I think it also depends on your environmental upbringing. You know, if you're a child and your parents are very strict or religious, you know, you could shun those urges or those desires until you're 28. You know,
well, that's a good question that I have for you both. Do you have accepting when you actually made a definition of your sexuality for yourself and you share that with your family? Did you have families that were just like, yes, okay? Were they accepting, or was it a tumultuous situation to come out to your family? Kelly, you first.
It took a while for me to come out to my family. Once I did, the majority of them have been accepting of me just as they were before I told them. I think some people had their own, idea before I said it, but either way, they still love me today, and
okay.
I'm cool with that.
Well, you know, I just said, I'm gay.
You're going to have to deal with this.
Well, actually, it wasn't quite like that. I didn't really want to come out. I didn't really want to come out or anything. It was just something that happened. It's actually kind of interesting. I used to, when I was in junior high school, I had a crush on a guy. And I would talk to my English teacher after school about it. And I would, once we all graduated from junior high school, I would write her letters because she moved out of the city. And I left a letter that I was writing to her on my dad's computer. And my stepmother found it.
You were writing on the computer, or the letter was physically on the computer? What are you saying?
No, I was writing on the computer.
Okay.
And because, you know, I had to print it
was
out.
it Word
she was
document?
my English teacher, so I had to be correct. But so I wrote this letter, and my stepmother found it, and they questioned me about it, and I just had to admit it. But at that time, It was kind of scary. I was more scared of coming out to my father because he was very strict about those things and he didn't like it. And but over time they came to accept it. My mom was more accepting of it than my father. And because
Kelly's
they
nodding
were
her head. That must
okay.
be the
Right.
same experience for you?
Absolutely. My mother has definitely been more accepting and supportive than, I mean, it's harder for, I guess, a father to accept it, but.
True. Well, maybe too because I was a male and I'm my father's only son, so he probably felt some kind of way about that. But over time, they got over it.
Well, I can relate to that as a parent. I really can. I can relate to the expectation shifting in you. I don't think it's a love issue, but I can relate to the expectation shifting. But let me ask you guys this: so we understand being gay, and we understand being lesbian, and we understand the people who may even go to transgender. So do we give a pass for bisexual? What's the B? What is
yeah,
the B
I guess
all about?
that's been my thing as well,
Does it
especially when we're discussing nature versus nurture, being born this way. Well, how do we fit in the B of the acronym, the LGBT?
Or is it just E for just, explore, or just are those people sexually greedy? What's up?
Well, I actually used to think the same thing. I never really could understand bisexuality myself because I always was leaning more to one side. But as I got older and encountered more bisexual people, I understood it was just a preference or it's just a desire and innate
What do they
kind of
prefer?
feeling just like
Both?
homosexual.
Is that a
Well, they like
Have fun
both.
with both.
They like both, But I think it's different for men than it is for women in a sense that, women can kind of look at it as experimental and, have a relationship with the same sex and then later on marry a guy.
And that's what I want to ask Kelly. And Kelly, let me ask you to get really on top of your mic. There you go. The question that he just brought it up. So when you are a female, do you think that society just is encouraging girls for fun? Like I know we've talked to our daughter, and we've seen her honestly on Facebook. I have in the past kissing another woman, and so another girl or young lady or whatever for fun at a club. So.
And we know she's not
Girls
gay.
Gone Wild. Is that a?
I think that is a girl's, or not a girl's gone wild. I don't know your daughter, but
You can say,
that
yeah, she's
does
kind
it.
of gone.
Kelly said,
gone
"You
wild
have
lately."
gone wild."
No, I think that women naturally are very sexual beings. They get a little drink in their system and they have fun, at the club. They may kiss their friend. They may even take it a step further. But those, and like he said, they may still end up marrying a guy. It's just a fun situation, just as.
So there's more of there's less social stigma for women on women to having a sexual encounter. Greg, do you find that it's the same? Because I actually think men are more sexually aggressive, if you want to know the truth.
I agree. 'Cause I think men are a little bit more sexual. But at the same time, I think that it's that way for women because in our society, socially, women are more accepted with that. Some men actually prefer bisexual women, it's a turn on for them. Mm-hmm. But it's not the other way around in the male situation because men they really shun homosexuality, especially in the African American community. It's like really tough.
Still?
Yeah.
So with all.
So wait. Let me get to that. Are you saying, is that geographically influenced? Like here in Los Angeles,
I think
it didn't
so.
seem like
I
people
think-
would trip that much.
Depends on where.
I think
where you're
I
at.
think in the whole
Really?
world, really, because the male has always been the more dominant one all over the world. And some males think same sex makes you weaker or more feminized, and they shun that because they hail masculinity.
I was actually when I was doing research for the show, I showed Marla. There's a tribe in, I think it's in New Guinea or something like that. And I don't quote me on where it is, but they're called the Sambian tribe, and they actually think the exact opposite, that hooking up with women makes you weak. So they take their young boys from the tribe at like 12 years old and actually force them into homosexuality to get away from the weakness of women.
Wow.
By doing
And that's
some
how they
things that
pass.
I just shake my head.
And that's how they. And that's how that's
crazy.
That's how they pass on their.
What
their,
did you tell me
their-
that they
their male
stab
energy.
a stick in your nose and make it bleed so they get rid of the stench of
so
the women,
that you
they
wouldn't even
separate them?
smell a woman. Literally, I mean, it's almost
And
like
then they
hatred.
Then they give
I
the
was
young
shocked.
boys wisdom through the tribe from the elders' penis.
and then I
Talk to this. I have
realized
something to
that
tell
they
you.
weren't the only one. You can look up the Sambian tribe, anyone, or the Etora tribe. It's the exact same thing.
And do you see what
kinda
happens
crazy.
when Dave does not have a tour and he's not on the road with Take Six? Too much time on his hands. That will be my song next week, without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, you know what? When we come back, we're going to really get into the actual question and find out, is the trend real or is it just something that's perceived? We've kind of been talking about it already, but when we get back, we're going to ask Kelly Hart and Greg Gilmore, our guests here in the studio today on the Marla and Dave Show, what they think about that question. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We're having fun. We want you a part of it. And again, 323 284-7826. We don't want Marla talking at you. Remember.
You want that.
You're listening to the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network.
Tell me that question.
It's time for the Marla and Dave Doghouse. Marla has something that should put Dave in the doghouse. Dave has something that should put Marla in the doghouse. You decide who gets a biscuit and who gets busted and ends up in the doghouse.
I want to start this by saying, to be totally honest with you, I have a book of doghouse offenses I've been saving up for the 26 years that we've been married. But this week,
Yeah, see, she talks at me.
This week, I'd like to bring up the fact that Dave's got one more time to tell me more about my femininity and the things that happen with my body with authority, to know more about me than I know. Dave thinks that he is the author of my vagina. And not to mention the fact that when it's time for me to have my monthly issue,
it's my muse.
he brings out his calendar and he blames that the week before on everything in our lives, from the trash not being taken out to me not being able to find my shoes. It's all because of my period.
Guys, you know how it is. It's called self-preservation. But Marla, I give you that. You know, I'm not going to say
Get your own vagina, Dave.
Here's why I think Marla should be in the doghouse. I thought I did so many years ago. But Marla and I had a disagreement the night before my birthday, which actually totally derailed the beginning of my birthday. She promised to get up and make coffee for me and a nice breakfast.
I did make you coffee.
And instead, she slept in and came downstairs to the fact that I had already made the coffee
Because you had
and
to
my
talk-
day was already going.
Dude, you got up too early
Then
for
she
the
said,
Texas conference call.
and while she's making these excuses, then she said, "Oh, you know what? Well, this is gonna be your weekend. We're gonna go out on dates." Every night since then, I don't know what's coming over me. I'm just too tired. Put Marla in the doghouse. Give David the biscuit.
David needs roof.
Intelligent, fun, and super real. This is the Marla and Dave radio show.
All right, so we're back. We are joined. We have a caller right quick, so let's jump right to that before we do anything else.
You're on the line with Marla and Dave.
This is Osman. How are you?
Osman, what's up?
All right. Apparently, your feed is not in real time because I'm talking to you now, but your mouths aren't saying in the right time. Any rate, so here's what I have to say. A part of me thinks that it's mostly nature. I mean, I was around maybe 9 years old when I realized that I would get excited looking at Dawn Wells on Gilligan's Island, or Barbara Eden in her little genie outfit, or Nichelle Nichols on Star Trek. And there was never a male that would do anything for me like that.
Right.
So on one hand, and I've never believed that a male raised in a house full of women,
Suddenly becomes.
It's going to end up being, gay.
Yeah.
However, I think that there is a phenomenon that happens all the time, and this is that men get incarcerated, and they go in as heterosexuals, and they come out as something else, and then when they come out, they claim, well, I was just doing that because I was there, but I'm not really that way. And in reality, I guess if you can do that while you're incarcerated, then maybe it's something that you can do for, let's just use the term sport or fun.
Huh.
Well,
you know what?
That's another way of looking at things.
Actually, I'm going to throw
Thank you, Osman.
Thank you, Osman. And I'm going to throw that at Greg because I am a woman, and so, but my real feeling and thought, to be truthful, I find that it would be very hard. I think that women are very emotional and touchy-feely by nature. I think it's very hard to engage in an actual intercourse scenario as a man just because. Like, in other words, there has to be something else there rather than a hug or a kiss.
Okay, well, we are getting another call in right quick. Osman, thanks for
All right,
calling
well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Osman. Hi, you're on with Marla and Dave.
Yeah. Is Kelly there?
Yeah, she is.
Hey,
Kelly, this is for
call
you.
for Kelly.
Hey, Kelly. Hey, it's Malia and Pepe.
What's your question, Malia? Hey.
Malia.
Hi, we're calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hold on, let me
Atlanta,
talk.
GA.
And we're watching the show live.
Nice.
Streaming it. And we had a question for you, Kelly.
All right, what's your question?
Well, could you turn down your computer while you're actually talking on the phone? Because we're going to get it kind of echoing back.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, perfect. What's your question for Kelly?
Yes. Do you feel as though the community, the lesbian and gay community, frowns upon, the whole church, Christianity? How do you think that religion and the gay and lesbian come together?
That's a good question.
Well, let me try to clarify. Are you asking how, since they've been persecuted so much by the church, how does the lesbian and gay, bisexual, transgender community actually react to that?
Fit into Christianity. How do they relate?
Yeah, how do they relate in the sense that, a lot of lesbian and gay people, do have religious backgrounds. So there's always that almost cross-reference, trying to still hold on to your faith and, also
be who you are. Right, exactly.
I think that no matter what or no matter who you are, you should always hold on to your faith. But I think that...
Is it hard?
It's hard to answer. The church, I know, or certain churches, are more open to it or more welcoming to it, and others aren't. But I don't think that the two should correlate at all. We are all, believers, or we're not all believers, but we're all children of God, so we should all,
right.
Our sexuality doesn't determine that. We are all
who you choose to love and loving God should not be one or the other. That's really what you're saying. Like
exactly. I love God. I love Jesus. I believe he died for my sins, and I also love my fiance.
Awesome.
So there is no...
So that's something.
Does that answer the question, caller?
Yes. Very good. Yes. Question is answered.
Thank you so much for calling in. Now, I just want to say this. I tend to agree with that. Since I do believe that you can be born gay or lesbian, I think that would be almost impossible to say, how can I not be a Christian because I was born this way? It makes no sense. That's like saying I'm born left-handed, so hey, you can't play sports with the right-handers. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense.
Right, except the thing about it is religion is such a Christianity is the big tent. Religion to me is a particular room or a house where we've agreed to act in this particular way. This is our religious format in this house. The whole room is one thing. So I think that within that, it's an interpretation and an understanding in individual churches that accept or reject a particular doctrine, so to say. And, not that I feel that it's right or wrong, but because that's another subject. Well, how did we turn this thing? What are their names in Atlanta? They just
Malia
you started
and Sese.
Malia and Sese. You just started a whole new Marla and Dave topic here. What the hell's happening to me? No, I'm infected.
We were going to actually get a little bit more clarification, and I'm not even sure if we need to because we were talking about nature versus nurture. Is the trend real? Do you think that more people are experimenting with a lesbian or gay behavior that aren't actually lesbian and gay?
And I was saying to Greg, which right before we took Osman's call, is that when you talk about men, because women are that way. That's and the world accepts us to be. If I walked up to a woman right now, even when, for example, when I walk in the room, when I come to do our show every week, I hug and kiss Tony. I hugged you. And so it's not even a thought. You don't hug and kiss Tony.
I did hug and kiss Tony the first time I met him. Yeah, we were like, oh,
what?
Tony.
You kissed Tony? So now the show has taken a whole nother turn. Dave comes out on the Marla and Dave show.
Oh,
Tony,
my goodness.
You turn my husband, you're going to owe me some serious spouse support.
Switch many.
Anyway, so the bottom line is, I was just saying, we talked about, Osman mentioned the prison thing, and I'm just saying that to me, that intimate relationship between two men is a different subject and beast.
It's definitely a different thing. It's love there. You know, when you're in jail, I mean, and no pun intended, anyone who's been incarcerated, but you don't have a woman there to satisfy you.
So it's just
but
a
you're
sexual
still gonna
response.
Have sexual, right. You're still going to have sexual urges. So, of course, you're probably going to engage with someone who's willing in a homosexual act. But
jail.
when you're out, you're free. You probably won't anymore. You know, and some people
Or you
might.
probably will.
Yeah, you probably will. But you only will if it has opened up in you something that was already there.
Right. So you can't. So we joked about Dave, but so you can't be turned one way or another.
I don't believe that.
Kelly's eye went up. Kelly, do you think that it's possible to be kind of turned one way or another? Like I think that I have one sexual preference, but then I have an experience, and now I'm totally going in the other direction. But
I can say that that's true in some cases. Some people, I've always had a theory that with women, I'd say, or even maybe it can apply to men too, that most people are, or some people are born with it in them already. Like a lot of people are, and if no one taps into that, then it's
they'll live their life as
they'll
something
live their
else.
life normal, what they see, you know, the rest of or the majority of society doing.
Speaking of church, I have to throw this in there. I'm not trying to be funny. And I too grew up Adventist, and Adventism is my church background. And I know a lot of guys, not so much women, in my opinion, that I've observed that are highly effeminate, but they are married and they have children, and you cannot just identify them as one way or another, but it seems like that's the case. So you never know. I mean, in other words, making that. Don't bob to my don't ever do that again. Don't do that.
Well, again, it's been a great conversation, and you can still call us at 323-284-7826. We might be able to squeeze you in. You're having a great time talking with Kelly and Greg.
I know I'm having a great time talking to Kelly and Greg. And you know what? I'm always super informed.
See, Marla's still talking to us. By the way, Marla, it's just in. You're in the Doghouse. I forgot to tell you that.
How come one person can put me in the Doghouse?
Because no one else puts me in the Doghouse. Boom.
Okay, so I'll go back. We'll be back.
It's time to play the Marla and Dave Love Game. Here are Marla and Dave to explain how it works.
Okay, it's time for the Mad Love Game, a game created by Marla and I. It has 3 categories.
You forgot to thank Hal. Thank you, Hal.
Well, first of all, thank our lovely voice, Halloran Hilton Hill, and his our great friend Chris Marion.
I don't like the way you say Hill because of that tooth that you have that stabs down onto your tongue.
See, Marla's still talking at me. Anyway, the Mad Love Game has 3 categories: finance, sex, and communication. It's played by rolling the mad die, or dice. It's only one of them, so I say die. And depending on what category you land on, that's the card you pick. You read it, and you answer the question, and you have fun with all of your friends. Greg, I'm going to allow you to roll the dice.
Okay.
Greg is rolling. He landed on communication. Greg, pick a blue card. Boom, Thank you. Give it back to me, Greg. Thank you very much. I'm a control freak. The question is, who talks to friends about the relationships more, men or women? Who talks to friends about the relationships more, men or women?
Actually, I think it's kind of hard question, but I would say women, of course.
Okay, and I was going to say that's kind of interesting, especially depending on what we're talking about today. For further discussion, what information should never be shared?
Kelly?
What information should you never share about your relationship?
Positions.
Oh.
Sexual positions?
Anything from the bedroom. Everything from the bedroom is private.
Everything from the bedroom is private.
And I don't think that
kind of
anybody
agree.
should ever discuss. Ladies, do not be running around talking about the size of your man's member or any of their. Oh, by the way, Dave, speaking of size, right quick.
Wow.
No. So I have something.
What a segue.
I have something to prove right quick. Can you see me? Can you guys see me? What size breast?
Well,
does
those
it
look like triple D's to me.
Okay, Dave. What I'm trying to tell you is this bra is a 34C. That's why bras are wet.
Anyway, thank you for playing the Mad Love Game, Kelly and Greg, and forgive Marla's rude outburst. She's been doing that all day. That's why she's in the Doghouse, as a matter of fact. Remember, You can always buy the Mad Love Game by actually going to our
Mad
website
merch.
and going to the Mad merch. If I haven't put it there, I will soon. Thank you, and back to the show.
Let's talk about the poll.
What's the action?
You'll laugh. You'll learn. You'll learn. You'll get mad.
Shut up!
You'll get happy. But you won't be bored. This is the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network.
All right, so we are actually going to get to the poll question for this week. And the poll question this week was, are some people choosing an LGBT lifestyle because it's trendy? Quite honestly, well, Greg, what do you think the answer was?
Well, I don't think it's trendy. I think that nowadays, it's just more socially acceptable. More people, even besides the homosexual community, are just more comfortable with being themselves, whether it was an African-American woman going natural or, a Caucasian person embracing urban lifestyle, urban music.
Sorry, Tony.
But with homosexuals, they are more free, they're more open, and so it seems trendy, but it's not.
Okay. Kelly, what do you think?
Yeah, I have to agree there. I can't say that it's trendy. When has gay ever been trendy? I mean, I still feel like the homosexual community is still one of the most hated and discriminated against peoples across the nation, across the world. So trendy is not what I would, how I would describe it. I would say that it's just a more vocal way of people identifying themselves or trying to find it. And people naturally are showing things a lot now. So they show that, hey, I'm kissing a woman, or hey, I'm here with,
It's a conversation now.
Absolutely.
It's a public awareness.
I think some of our homosexual terminology is trendy. A lot of people adopt, things that we say. You can hear it on
Like
television.
What? Give me one.
Like, what's the T?
What's the T? I don't know
What's
what that
the T?
means. Is
Well,
that because
what's
I'm
the
heterosexual?
business?
Oh.
It's a homosexual term. Or
yeah,
I can't even think of one right now. Right.
Then the poll result is actually 67% said yes, hashtag exploration. Only 33 said no, born this way, which means that there's a lot more education that we need to get to. So, and that's what we're here about. That's what we're here for. So, and again, next week we will be asking the poll question: do you believe the experts when they say Ebola is under control, or there is more to fear?
Yes.
No worries. B, be afraid.
Exactly.
Can you handle the truth? This is modern American dialogue in a mad world from two unique, fresh, transparent perspectives. This is the Marla and Dave radio show.
As usual, as we wrap up, I want to thank Kelly Hart.
Thank you.
And Greg Gilmore for joining our mad world in such transparent truth. And I also agree with Dave that one of the things that I want to remind everybody that we do here on the Marla and Dave show, and we really stand by responsible honesty and really just becoming a community that speaks truthfully but speaks openly on any topic that's out there, and always remember that there's more to learn, and hate is something that will block you, and it's ignorant. So I'm glad that you guys were here to join us and to educate us, because I always leave with a little bit of something here on the Marla and Dave show. And I'm Marla.
Well, I want to thank everyone who was on in our chat room, and we had such a lively discussion. I apologize for not actually answering some of those questions directly online, but again, we appreciate you coming, checking out the show. We thank the callers for calling in.
And can I leave with this, though? Bridget did mention similar. You were talking about the poll, and she says that I think that there's a wider acceptance of a variety of sexual and relational behaviors now than ever before. So
I think the main thing is the more conversation needs to happen, and that's why we really appreciate you guys stopping by and having this conversation with us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
And next week, join us where we have the hot cougar nurse, Mimi, in the room, and we also are going to be talking to Dr. Norman about he's an infectious disease doctor, and we're going to be talking about Ebola. Let's get all of our questions together. And let's put on our hazmat suits, and let's show up here for the Marla and Dave show next week.
Greg, one of the things that I want to say is that next time we come out to play kickball,
I
I encourage you to consider Dave's team.
You know
what's
what?
the team?
Dave's team is Team Hell Yeah, and my team
Absolutely.
is Shut the F Up.
Yeah,
so
see,
that's
Marla's team is rude,
I'm on your
Greg.
team.
Greg, you know
I
your
just-
team is
I just-
rude.
I just
There's no
recruited-
need to be on a rude kickball
Well, I
team.
can't be a traitor. I gotta stay
Let's
on.
see, he's gonna be
Fuck
true.
up.
And we just recruited Kelly. Thank you guys.
Well, Greg, can you please encourage your team leader to actually tone down the rudeness? She's been talking at me. I guess that's what happens when you're in the doghouse.
Sometimes winners get rough.
You spent
know what I'm saying?
so much time in the doghouse the last couple of weeks, I might add.
And I'm going to tell you the results of the Kelly and Marla and Dave tennis bang off.
Oh yeah, Kelly. Are you for real? Want to play some tennis?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh, no, she didn't.
Thank you guys for stopping by. We've been Marla and Dave.
We'll
we had
see you
so much fun. See you next
next week.
week.